Ba ba boom. Guess where this is? Doesn't really look like any kind of a city is maybe you'll notice, but this is Florence, baby. It's great. Anytime that I can find like some little bit of nature in a city, I think it was like the best. My little tripod thing broke, so just gonna hold my phone, I guess. It's quite uncomfortable, so not sure how long I'm going to do that for. I just had this idea last night to kind of record, kind of after I've done all my workout stuff. So went for a run, did my kind of yoga, qigong stuff, and my breath work, all that stuff I do. Maybe I'll make a video about that because you guys don't actually know. I mean, I've only ever like recorded these things for myself, but yeah. Just that I talk and yeah, let's try and work through some stuff, I guess, by talking. Yeah. Sometimes I think I got some wisdom in there, and I probably do. And other times I'm like, probably full of shit, But I don't think it's any different than any other human being. Especially like the most confident people, I think, are often the ones that have the most shit. But I don't know. Now I'm judging people. I don't want to do that. Sorry. So I've been traveling, just over a year. Been a year and 1 month almost. And not really any end in sight, kind of just doing my thing. It's quite nice. Every day is kind of its own mini adventure, I'd say I'm really looking forward to seeing my buddy Mason. He's coming into Berlin. So I got like one more week here, depending. I think I booked like 4 more nights. And then I'll go to Venice for a couple days. Fly out of Venice to go to Berlin. We kind of have an idea of going to Prague and Slovakia, I believe. Oh, then after that, I got plans to go back to the UK. Do some videos with some friends. It's another kind of thing I'm working on. Write with me, write an imperfect story in 10 minutes or less. That's right, you heard me. 10 minutes and imperfect. I made 16. Yeah, I made 16 or posted 16 online. And I guess I shot like 6 more. So I'm working on finishing those other ones. But I guess the reason why I never kept with it is they were, like anything in my life. I kind of have ideas and I go for it for a bit, and then I sort of like fall in love with the next idea, sort of like pursue that for a bit. So
I don't know. But like the idea is lately, besides maybe the resurgence of this, have been. I did some like looping art, like that was interesting for a while. Like I would find nature scenes in particular, but sometimes like city stuff too, and just like incorporating different elements to kind of make like this looping artwork. You know, I thought that was like really interesting. Um, but I don't know. Everything just seems like I'm playing around, and experimenting. Uh, it's always been sort of inconsistent, though. Yeah, inconsistent. Sometimes I think I'm getting way, like, a lot better, at life. And then sometimes I think it's like the opposite, where there's like two parts of me. And yeah, I don't know. I think I've been saying that to myself for a minute too. The two parts. And it's definitely like, I mean, for instance, lately, it's like, I don't know how I like, slept. I'm talking about sleeping, or how this happened. How I slipped into doing this. That's what I want to say. Slipped into the sleep schedule that I'm in. Because lately it's like I'm going to bed at 5 a.m. Or whatnot. And I had that a little bit in Albania. And then I kind of switched to a morning schedule of like falling asleep early and then waking up early, which I think is probably like the most healthy, right? That's what's like the world and everyone. I don't know. But because late at night, it's like I'm not being productive. I'm just like binge watching shows or something, which it's kind of fun, but it's not like giving me much. So yeah, and I lose a lot of the daylight. You know, I always wake up feeling like behind. And that's not good. Kind of always had that feeling. Just not healthy. That's like the biggest thing in my life that I try and work on. That I do work is just like what's going on the inside, taking care of me. That's why like the first thing that I try and always do is go for a run, do my yoga and work out, breath work, meditate, and then after that, I have this like traveling thing. So I feel like I walk around and kind of see the city a lot, and make some like food for myself, or go out and eat something. But yeah, I would say I love drinking and smoking. As much as I try and not love those things, they just I can't. You know, that's like the part of me that's like, yeah. Last night, drank myself a bottle of wine and didn't feel like too much. There was a point in my life where I thought, drinking a whole bottle of wine, that's a lot. But I drank it and I was like, oh, you know, the first half of the bottle uh, was just like, even before I was like cooking dinner, and I was like, it's like juice. I don't know. Feels good, but really takes its toll a lot. My chest is like, hey, why are we smoking? You know? And I've definitely taken breaks and whatnot. It's kind of a funny video. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Because I think a lot of times these videos you want, it's either like, I don't know, it's a person with all the answers that is talking to you. I think that's what's weird about all these videos that people post. They're they're the people that have like, I've gone through this shit. I don't know, and uh, so here's the video, to help you. And I think that's great, you know. So thank you, people that have gone through stuff and trying to encourage other people. Uh, or I don't know, you get the other side, which I don't see too often, of just people feeling stuck and complaining. And maybe I feel like I'm somewhere in between. That's what's weird. Because a lot of days I feel like, and seasons in my life too, where it's like moment to moment. I've been doing so many things to try and like, if I can just get better and level up, and however phrase you want to use, like raise my vibration, or just get fit, like manifest your fucking life. Probably can't say that. Hmm. Yeah, and yeah, it's like there's moments where it's like, all right, life's feeling good and groovy, and there's other moments where you're just like, what's going on here? And it's just noticing, I guess, all of them. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, this is like just my perspective on life. My kind of unique little video here, which, yeah, I don't even know if I'll post this. And I made a lot of these things that have just never seen the light of day. And I think that's a big thing in my life, is wanting to be seen, but being like afraid of being seen too. You know, sure. Who couldn't relate to that? You know, I don't know. People who aren't like me, but that's what makes everyone so interesting and different, I guess. Everyone's got their own shit. So, I don't know. I like nature a lot. I think it's very calming. It's so funny that I'm hearing like Florence is like probably like, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And it really is. But here I am like on the outskirts of town, um, just trying to get a little bit of nature in. Uh, yeah, I think all cities just need way more nature. As much as I love all the brick and stone and everything, it's like you don't really feel like you can be like a human. Yeah, if that makes any sense. Every like big city I've been to, it's like I feel a little like constricted. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes like you want to take your shoes off, just walk around barefoot, on some grass, and just like lie down and just like, I don't know, just be human. You can do that a lot on beaches. That's what I love about beaches. I did go to Albania's beaches. Those things, you need shoes. to walk on. Probably not all of them, but the beach I was at, it's like I took my shoes off one time, and I was just like looking down the entire time. I was like, oh boy, oh baby, like I ain't stepping on all this broken nonsense, all this garbage. So I don't know. Being human, being yourself, being a person, it's good. I think talking about it is really important for me. Um, I like doing all these like little like little tests and things. Like I don't know, I got kind of into the astrology thing for a while, but then I was like, well, no. First, it was like the Myers Briggs, like 16 personality, you know, and it was just like finding the connections between all these things. Well, one of them was like the human design, which I think is becoming like more popular, but I feel like not a lot of people have heard about it. Anyway, I'm one of these like projectors, which it's kind of weird. there's not a lot of us. Kind of a new breed, which it's cool, you know. But there's this thing where I need to talk, basically. It's called like like a self-projected authority or something. Because most people, you know, when they say like, "What's your gut tell you?" and listen to your gut, because that's like where your authority or whatever comes from. It's where your decision making is. My decision making apparently is just me rambling and talking, and that's how I figure out what to do. Is I talk about it, which is crazy too, because it's something that I don't often do. You know, a lot of it is mental chatter, which is not a good place to be. You don't want that mental chatter, you know. And always being traveling, you know, you don't have a consistent group of like people that you can, you know, chat to. You know, you meet people along the way, and it's great. But sometimes you just need to like talk to yourself. That's why I think I'm making this video right now. It's really just for me. If it's helpful to anyone, cool, that's great, you know. But what decision am I trying to make? I mean, all the decisions, and none at the same time. You know, I think it's just funny how you know life is, of just appreciating, you know, the little moments in life, but then thinking like, okay, well, what's your purpose? You know, what's your passion, and all these things. Because as a kid, it was a big deal for me, like passion, 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 passion. It was like my security passwords for a while, you know. Anyway, I wanted to be like a filmmaker, a writer director, and yeah, I pursued that for a while. But it's the same thing, of like I was saying before with the write with me, so the different projects, you know, where you go for something, you know, you experience it in your own way, and that's the thing about these cities too. Everyone has this idea of like, oh, you go to like Rome, and you gotta see, you know, all the sights, and you gotta like eat the pastas. It's like, I don't know, you got like preconceived notions of like what your trip is going to be, instead of actually just going there and having your own unique experience, because that's what life is, you know, it's having your own unique experience. That's the whole point. It's like, it'd be boring if everyone had the same exact vacation, same exact experience, you know. We can all kind of relate to a certain degree of like, oh yeah, we saw the Coliseum, you know. I did see the Coliseum. I did not go inside though, and it was cool, you know. I was like, wow, this is it. I'm here. You know, this is great. Uh, I would say Napoli. Napoli is a good city, depending on what you like. If you like pizza, great pizza at Napoli. Uh, it's a hustly bustly, scooters driving by you every 2 seconds. Um, it almost kind of reminds me of like, well, I don't know. I guess like Marrakesh was pretty, you know, crazy like that. I was like riding on a scooter once in Marrakesh. It was like 3 of us on that. We were like riding like late at night, like driving to like the city, smoking cigarettes. It was, I mean, I was like recording it too. That was one wild night. What am I trying to say? I don't know. Life as a human, you're doing things, filmmaking, passion. I really wanted to go traveling. So I came, I'm traveling, and just checking what this still recorded. And yeah, so what is the destination? I was like talking to this girl that I met, and she's like, "What is your destination? Well, where are you going?" And I'm like, nowhere, everywhere. And I think that is a big thing of feeling like you don't belong anywhere, feeling like there's no home, you know. And I felt like that ever since I was, 18, 19 or whatever, when I left to go live in LA. And immediately, like, I think as soon as like you leave your city for the first time, and you kind of just like come back, and you feel like a big fish, in a little pond. You feel like life is like way slower, which can be good, but you want that excitement. So that's why I think I kept sort of moving around. But then I would come back a lot. But then I would kind of enjoy it for a bit. Then I'm like resent it. Then I'm like, all right, what's the next adventure? And so now I don't think I really have any desire to go back to Seattle. Maybe to visit family, but I want to like live there. And it's gotten way too expensive. And the more I travel, the more I'm like, these are the qualities that I really like. And I'm looking forward to Brazil, I'd say. Just kind of being on a beach and having that nature. They got mangoes there. I bought a mango in the store here. It's from Brazil. I'm like, mangoes are like a superfood. Superfood. That's the thing. I'm trying to like eat all this healthy stuff now too. You know. For a long time, it didn't really matter what I was eating. I mean, I still go out and eat some pizza and pasta for sure. Eat some of those like chocolate croissants. You gotta live your life. You can't just. That's the thing about all these extremes of people. And it's so funny too. I love learning about all this stuff, but at the same time, if you watch all this content, it can drive you crazy because this guy's like, okay, you can't even eat bananas. Bananas aren't even good for you. Or it's like, what? What are you talking about? And some people are like, oh, you can't eat onions. Onions aren't good for you. And other people are like, yeah, onions, they're great for you. And you're like, what? Like, what's going on here? What is the answer? Does anyone really know? Yeah, there's certain foods that I'm like, oh, I'll eat more of this because I'm like aware of that. I've been trying to eat more ginger. Ginger. Ginger was never like something that I would, eat. I feel like once in a blue moon, there's like something that had ginger in it. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's ginger, all right. And you always knew. You're like, whoa. Ginger snap cookies. That's the one like unhealthy thing that ginger's in probably, and it just makes it healthy. I don't know what it's doing. People go back and forth about everything, but I'm just saying, like, you eat an apple. It's like, it is good for me. That's the other thing. You get into like blood types. My mom was into this thing of like eating according to your blood type. So I thought that was interesting. And now there's this thing of, well, I mean, it's been around for a while, I guess. It's the Indian, like, Ayurvedas. Am I saying that right? It's like everyone has these body types, that you are. Where it's like you're a pita bread. Oh, I think it's funny, pita bread. But for me, I'm a Vada or something. And it's because I'm a tall, skinny guy. And So I like putting all these things together, putting the pieces, the puzzles, and put them all together. I remember asking ChatGPT. I was like, "Hey, here's like every like I put down everything." I was like, "I'm like a freaking like I'm a Taurus, I'm a that, I'm a projector type, I'm like according to like Chinese astrology." I was like, "All right, tell me who I am. Like, give me like the rundown." And it was a little disappointing. A little didn't have the information I was like really looking for. That's the other thing. It's like you're always looking for this information of like what makes sense, what does make sense, get some understanding. And now I forget what I'm talking about. I think that's a Veda thing too. It's funny because I always thought I was reading, I was like, oh, they're like fast talkers or kind of that thing. Or if I'm talking to like a person, sometimes I think I'm like, oh, I'm not a fast talker, I'm like pretty slow. Usually I'm like dependent on the situation, but I'm usually kind of like observing more than I'm talking, in a lot of situations. And I've done a lot of improv. For a while, I was talking to my therapist about this. I was like, oh, because in improv, there's like a whole thing of, I probably have ADHD too. It's a whole thing. If you can't tell, I'm all over the place. Um, there's the thing of yes and, someone says something like, hey, let's go to the bank, and I go like, yes, and we gotta mail the check, otherwise the bank's gonna foreclose on our house. You know what I'm saying? You build on the story, and it's this whole thing of like, you bring a brick, not a cathedral, because you don't want to like give too much information, but you want to give some. And in life, I was like, okay, now I see everything in terms of improv, where every single communication with a person is like, okay, how do we improv life together? Which I thought was beautiful. But then there's all this fear and weird stuff going on. So I was saying to her, my therapist, I was like, I don't feel like I'm anding, like I'm yesing people, but I just lost the whole and I don't know where it went. So sometimes I get the mojo, but you feel kind of lame sometimes, where you're just like, yeah, and you're really invested in like them, what they're saying. Not sure, where we cut off there. Where did we cut off? It's probably rambling for a bit there. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So, feeling that I wasn't ever doing enough or good enough, and I was working through all the shit too. You know what I'm saying? I was doing all the breathwork sessions. I was doing all the yoga. I was doing all the therapy. I was doing all the sleep manifestation miracle shit. I've done ayahuasca. I've done whatever. All the self-help books. I've done the Red Book. I've done, I don't know, anything you can think of. I've talked to a friend. I've written about it. That's the big thing. I think talking about it and writing about it is a big thing. Maybe that's why the thing that I started to write with me is because I knew I wanted to write. And I knew other people wanted to write too, And if they were like me, then it's better to write together. Doing things together. That's the big thing. In life, I've been learning to just kind of go it alone, which is beautiful in some ways and sad in others. Because it's like a strong, independent man, you don't need it. But at the end of the day, it is true that if you lie next to someone, you're still, it's all inside. Everything's going on. Doesn't matter. Well, externally, as much as what's going on internally, like means everything. If you're holding someone in bed, cuddling, and you're thinking, "I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here," uh, that's not a good situation. If it's like, if you're like, "Whoa, I'm so lucky to be with this person," life is complete, and I would feel that a lot. I feel both those things sometimes. Artist way. That's a good one. Write your 3 pages every day, I'd say. And that was like a big thing of writing your voices. That was something that was really helpful to me. So a lot of times I have like, okay, this person wants to say this, and this person wants to say that. And you think, how are all these things mean, You do all that meditation stuff and you're just like, what does even any of this make sense? What's going on here? You think you have like a loop going on a lot of times, A lot of times there's a thought that's always looping. Probably negative, knowing most people. There's some weird thought that's going on that's like controlling us. And we're sort of in this like pre-programmed, automatic, just like boop, boop, beep, boop. A lot of people, that's just their lives. When I was working like every day, it's like you do your thing, you get up, you make the whatever, you go home, and it's like you're on repeat. You're doing a Groundhog's Day, and that's your life. And that's cool, but not really, right? Because most people are like, this sucks. But even when you get out of it, that's what's even more interesting. Because you're like, what do I do? And that's why I think a lot of people have trouble like retiring. Because they're like, what do I do with all this free time? I've had free time a long time. A lot of free time. Even I don't even know what to do. A lot of times you're like, well, let's watch a show or something. Especially at night when you're just like trying to sleep. What's going on? You have all this time, but then you wake up and you don't have time. Because you're like, oh, the sun's going down. It's a short day today. It's like we got to get out. We got to do stuff. It's like you're behind. You got no time. But I have all the time in the world. The loop I have in my mind all the time usually is I have divine timing. I don't know where that came from or why. But I always go, if I'm meeting like a friend, and they're like, oh, let's meet at this time, and I'm always like, that doesn't make sense to me. How like a human can like move their body and be in a location like all at a certain time, boggles my mind how any of that works. But it always does. That's why I go like, I got divine timing, I don't. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm gonna walk. Whenever it happens, I get there and it all works out. It's groovy. It's all good. Sun's going down. I was wanting to go to this museum today. I don't know what's gonna happen. Divine timing. It'll happen. Okay. Probably talked enough, but I would say that, yeah, life is, I don't know, but I think talking about it's good. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep talking about life, keep talking about what's going on inside of us, because I don't know what's coming out. What the write with means, you write it, and the whole thing is like turn your brain off, let your fingers do the writing. And that's the same thing what's going on here with like, that's what you do in therapy too. You just sort of ramble until things that kind of make sense to you. So that's what I'm doing here. I don't think anything makes sense, but it just feels good to talk, It's good to like let out whatever is kind of inside. I haven't done a lot of that lately, you know. So most people need like a person, but it's like I don't want to like burden a person with this shit, you know. So I'll just burden the whole internet if I post this. But anyway, let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. But let's save the talk until next time. You know, we done enough talking today. So, all right. I'll see you later. Bye.